All right. So, Special Forces Day 5. And we've gotten to the point where there are no dropouts, voluntary or otherwise, even though it was touch and go there for a while with both Alana, mostly Alana, but also a little bit of Golden. So the DS is still keeping up with yelling at Golden. I don't know why he's getting yelled at. I mean, it wasn't his fault that Cam, decided to completely lose his mind and leave. And leave the first challenge. I guess that was more for the second challenge, but anyway. Alana completely lost it. She had a complete breakdown. And I was with, I believe her name is Christy. I was with her. I thought Alana was going to totally drop out. Simply because she was just a complete wreck after that first challenge. Cam completely lost it, and he felt like he was being disrespected because he thought that they lied to him, or in his words, that they played him, because he thought that, why show people how to use a gas mask if they're not going to actually use a gas mask. But that's the thing. Yes, you need to know how to use a gas mask, but you have situations where you don't have one. You don't necessarily know that there's going to be gas wherever you're going to do a mission. And plus, you want people to be aware of how gas affects you. So if you are in that situation, you're not going to freak out. Like Alana did, like Cam did. I honestly thought because they hadn't spoken with Alana that they were going to call her in because she just totally lost it. The first time we actually see her doing a mission, she totally loses it. So I thought they were going to call her in. Again, can't blame Golden. Golden was completely confused, but also because Cam had just left. So the only people in the first challenge that survived were Carrie and Kyla. And Kyla was super thrilled with herself that she's failed every single challenge up until now. And this time, she was one of the few, along with Carrie, to actually be the only ones to successfully complete the challenge. So I felt bad for Golden. I felt bad for Christy because their partners both completely lost their minds. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't have a reason to. I mean, Alana said how she couldn't breathe, how she couldn't see, and that's kind of the point. So, it's easy for me to say, oh, come on. I'm not saying that at all. But I do feel bad for Golden and for Christy because they seem to be keeping their shit together. So, it's one thing if both partners both lose it and both have an issue and both decide to leave, but when one is like willing to go through with it and the other one isn't, it's unfair to them. But at the same time, so was, them all gathering around and talking and laughing about it because, you need to vent. You need to decompress. And DS decided that they should all be punished for that, including Carrie and Kyla. So, yeah. For those who thought military life was fair, it's not. So, they all go back and then they decide, like I said, I thought they were going to call in Alana because she, just like Cam, left a man behind. She left Christy behind simply because she couldn't handle it. I mean, the second she took off her mask, she was gone. So, and pretty much everybody, when they were told to take off their gas mask, they were like, wait, what? Because, as they told Cam, there was a misunderstanding. When they said that you were going to be exposed to gas, that meant that you were going to have to take your gas masks off, when everybody just thought exposure to gas with the gas mask on. So, because they were given gas masks, so it was easy to assume that they were going to need to, whatever mission required the gas mask. Which just tells me that none of these people have watched previous seasons, because if you did, you know that you'd be doing this without a gas mask. But anyway. So, instead of speaking with Alana, who, like I said, seemed to have been having a hard time of it, they brought in Cam. Now, I don't know if it's because they have access to the cameras and to producers who tell them this is what Cam is saying and that's why they called him in, or what. Because it would have, I don't know why they would have otherwise chosen Cam over Alana, who hasn't been spoken to by the DS yet. And Cam already did once. So, when he left, the guys figured that he still doesn't understand how military life goes. And it's got to be hard for Cam, because throughout his life, he was always the star. He was always the guy getting the accolades. He was getting the applause. And I wouldn't say life was easy for him, but, he was treated differently than he would have been if he was just another guy. So it's got to be hard that you're now in a situation where people don't give a rat's ass who you are. They don't care that you were a star quarterback your whole life. This is not the way. I mean, that's in a lot of walks of life. You hear about the military. Actually, I think Foxy was one of them. Having to transition from military to civilian life was really difficult. He almost offed himself. He, on last minute, decided not to, but he thought about it. And so it is hard to, when you're used to a certain life and suddenly that's not part of your world anymore. It does take an adjustment to figure out, okay, now what? So it's got to be hard for people like Cam, for people like Golden, simply because you were, the top of your field, and now suddenly you have to figure out how to human. What kind of person am I? What kind of life do I want to live? So yeah, that's got to be hard for him, but I'm still kind of bummed that they didn't speak to Alana, because based on just the first challenge and even the second one today, I really think she's not long for this competition, because she seems to be having a really rough time. So then, and so far we haven't seen anyone complaining about the food or making fun of the food not being food, or the showers not being showers, or whatever. So Cam is trying to decompress, so he skips a meal, which I'm thinking, oh, that's going to come back to bite him in the ass later. But he was fine. So the second challenge today was what I thought, and I told this to my mom immediately, that this is going to be Cam's challenge. Because not only was he a quarterback, he was a star quarterback. And what do star quarterbacks do? They can read the field really, really well. So they know where to throw the ball or when to give it to a runner or whatever. Even under the pressure of a bunch of 300-pounders coming to tackle them. So he's used to pressure, and he's used to looking around and looking downfield during pressure. So we see Golden. They show Golden, and he bombed a school. He ended up bombing a school, and he wasn't the only one who bombed a school. And that has got to take a toll on him and Alana. And anyone else who bombed a school. I don't know if anybody else did. Simply because, yes, this was a war game. But just realizing that if this was real life, they would have killed a lot of, not just innocent people, but children. So that has to play with their minds. And like I said, at the end, you see Golden in his head. You see Alana she looked like she was in a coma. She was just staring blankly forward. So I worry about whether those two are going to remain, because they seem to be both having issues. I really thought that they were going to call in Golden because of that, because he was stuck in his own head. Or again, call Alana in because they didn't the first time. But no, they didn't. So the two people who passed this part of the course was Carrie and Cam. And like I said, I expected Cam to pass this course simply because, again, in order to be a star quarterback and a star quarterback in the NFL, you need to be able to make split-second decisions, and you have to be able to read the field really well, really quickly. Again, while a bunch of 300-pounders are trying to take you down. So I knew he would do well, and he did. Carrie was talking about how dangerous motocross is, and I never really thought about it, but I guess because he's cool under pressure doesn't affect him, that I guess it doesn't surprise me that he did well. So he won the day. He did well in the first challenge and the second challenge. And like I said, I'm not surprised that Cam did well because, again, star quarterback. Now, what was really weird was after this, they were discussing, the DS was discussing who they should call in. And they brought up Golden, how he seems to be, having a hard time processing what happened, which, I mean, you just told him he bombed a school. That's gotta really affect you, even if it wasn't real. Just knowing that you made that critical of an error is going to affect you. And so I thought they were going to call him again. Or like I said, Alana seems to be, slowly becoming comatose. And I thought maybe they'll call her in. Because again, they didn't call her in earlier. But no, they came up with some bullshit about how Carrie is holding something back. which I can only think that the producers of this show told them to do that, because we're halfway through. There's still plenty of time to call in Carrie and get whatever sob story he has. And what was really weird about this is usually when people talk about death or, whatever trauma they went through, there's tears, even from the guys. Hell, you saw that in Cam. He was crying. Maybe not I can't remember if it was at the challenge or or meeting with DS. I can't remember. But with Carrie, there were no tears. He just matter-of-factly talks about losing his brother when his brother was 21. And Q at least showed empathy. I saw on, I think it was Rudy's Instagram, after Jordan talked about her experience with Larry Nassar, that he got hit in the comments by at least one person, if not more, about him just sitting there like a rock. No sympathy coming from him. Which, it's got to be hard because you're there to, basically this is, like I said, a messed up therapy session. So, you really can't, what exactly were you expecting from him? But with Q, he at least said, sorry for your loss. But yeah, it would have been nice if they acknowledged that, how messed up it is that she's talking about being sexually assaulted by her doctor, your gymnastics doctor, and nothing. But, so I just thought it was very bizarre, the reasoning why they called him in. Now, granted, he did have a sob story, but no sobbing was done. Like I said, he mentioned it like it was no big deal, which obviously it was a big deal. He did say it affected him. But, some people, well, for one thing, his brother was 21 at the time. And assuming that they're about the same age, he's had quite a few years to come to terms with it, to the point where he can just matter-of-factly say, this is how my brother died. And, it seems like he's cold and uncaring, when in reality, it took him years to get over it. We also found out that Jason knows who Pink is. Foxy knows who Pink is. No clue whether he's a fan. He just acknowledges that she's famous. And I would probably do the same thing, because I forgot to look up if there's any music of hers I am actually familiar with. Because, sometimes you'll know a song, but not necessarily who sings it. So, right now, I would say I don't know any songs by her, but I could be wrong. Maybe there is a song I know by her that I just don't realize it's by her. So, Foxy knows that Pink exists and that she's famous. And, so yeah, it was just a very bizarre interaction, since I'm so used to this being a therapy session where people bare their souls and cry and, say how they're going to do better and blah, blah, blah. And Carrie's like, yeah, I'm just here for, just to see what I can do. That this isn't for personal growth. This is just basically to see what I'm capable of. So yeah, that was just, like I said, it was very unusual. Don't get me wrong, I like Carrie. I like Carrie a lot. I really think he's going to pass this course. If for no other reason, he is still old enough to remember old dial-up. And since that's one of the noises that is used for the torture at the end, yeah, he should be fine. And baby crying, well, he has kids, so again, probably not going to be as torturous as people think. So yeah, that was bizarre to me. So again, only 2 people survived the second course, Carrie and Cam this time. And in showing scenes from next week, or I should say next episode, I didn't catch what the actual course is, what the actual mission was, but apparently somebody accused Cam of cheating. Now he asks the group, do you all think I cheated? So I don't know if one of them said something to staff, or if someone from the staff thought they saw something, whether cheating actually happened or not, because it could be that this is just a hook to get people to watch the next episode, and it's going to turn out to be a whole lot of nothing. Because, let's face it, in the first season, Nastia cheated by Remy being there with her when the car was being submerged. So, and certain people took umbrage to that. So I'm not entirely convinced that there was cheating going on. Maybe they're just trying to see how Cam would react to being accused of cheating, which, I mean, I'm sure he won't react to that well, because he's very proud, and he's proud of his accomplishments, and he's proud of the fact that he doesn't have to do shit like cheat. So maybe it's not that he actually cheated, but they're trying to see how he would react to being accused of it. So yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next episode, if someone's going to break, if someone's going to withdraw, because we're still at 8 people, and there's, I guess, 5 episodes left. So it's going to be, I'm rooting for all of them. Alana and Golden need to get out of their heads, because dwelling on what they did is not going to be helpful to either of them. I mean, again, it's easy to find out that you bombed a school, even though technically you didn't. It was just a war game. But still, knowing that you screwed up like that, that's gotta really sting. That's gotta really take a lot out of you. So I don't blame them, but I question how long they're gonna stick around, simply because this seems to be affecting them a lot. I believe that is all I have for this episode. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.